asshole. Should you choose to listen to me and believe what I'm saying, that is your choice, and probably a bad one. Did I not already, intelligent person, tell you from the beginning, nothing to teach, you won't gain anything? I already told you. Don't follow. But if you can be talked out of yourself, furthermore, if you ask me for it and insist that I'd sell your own damn wallet back to you, you know how fast you're going right now? Calm down, dude. We're gonna get to the point, right? Just wait. So, if I am, let's say, a pickpocket, I'm very open about this, and I walk up to you in the street and I say, sir, I am a pickpocket. I am going right now, in this moment. You have every opportunity to defend yourself. There's some police on the corner, but I am going into your pocket right now to steal your wallet. And I'll probably take your watch too. And then what I'm going to do later on is I might try to sell it back to you. And then this man says, oh, absolutely, I'm okay with all of that. I don't really believe that you're a pickpocket. I think that you might be some kind of a guru or teacher who is trying to impart some kind of a lesson on my life. And if you are willing to go along with that, absolutely. No, I had his permission. With all your money inside of it, for twice the price. You can be talked out of yourself. Well, you deserve to be. That's classic narcissist thinking, isn't it? I've only ever been described as such by women I've broken up with or people I've fired. But hey, give the people what they want, right? Nobody. It's not your job to save somebody, fix somebody. We're going to talk about that a little bit later, but just at the very beginning, we have a point in space. Let's see that. Look, make it a little bigger. We have a point in space. What the hell is knowledge? What is knowledge? Knowledge is, I'll give you a hint, it's a silly made-up idea, just like most of the things that you believe in, and something you're convinced that you have. And something also, dangerously, is something that you're convinced that is useful or true. A deduction from a relationship. You cannot have absolute knowledge with one point of information. You have to compare it to something else. So if we have 2 points, and the distance is increasing, the distance is shrinking, or the distance stays the same, we can say that there is movement happening, but we can't define which one. To be able to do that, we have to have a third point of reference, like a third point in space, or room 2 eyes. Us. So how many points are there actually? I'll give you a hint. It's more than 3. Now with that, we can begin to describe all sorts of relationships. That one's moving away this way at this speed, 120 kilometers per hour. This one goes here and curves around to something else. Every piece of knowledge that we could possibly have is relative knowledge. It's not absolute knowledge. Now, I've been saying something rather silly. I've been using words like I, me, as if I was describing myself as something separate. Separate from what? If I say you, what do I mean you? If we have a you, and you have a neck, where exactly does your head end and your neck begin? We can approximate. When exactly does the size of a body of water become a pond versus a lake? How do we know? Figura y fondo. Allegedly. Figura y fondo. It's the same trick I use in painting. It's a wonderful illusion. How exactly is a rainbow made? It just does. You younger people won't get that. But how do you shine the sun? How do you grow your eyes? How do you flow the rivers? How do you swing the planets around one another and send asteroids through space, grow these galaxies? You just do. So you'll remember the point in space. Well, you can't have a point in space without the point and space. And so really, we have there just right from the get-go, two pairs of opposites. Figure background. And no matter how different two opposites seem to be, secretly they always go together, because you would not know the other without the one in the first place. And so I really like this symbol. I'm not religious. I don't really adhere to anything. And this is not a religious symbol of anything I'm particularly interested in. I think this originates, I think it's Chinese in origin. But most of you, if not all of you, will recognize this very cliche symbol as the yin-yang. And this, to me, describes the universe perfectly. We can get creative here, and we can turn these into two fish. We have the white fish with the black eye. It's forever chasing the black fish with the white eye. Or is it the black fish with the white eye that is doing the chasing? We don't know. But as far as we can tell, they just swim together forever and ever and ever and ever and always. I might be losing some of you right now. That's okay. You weren't meant to hear this. It's a non-dualistic symbol of duality. I love it. I think it's excellent. And, you know, maybe it could represent balance. Maybe it could represent the fact that there's always a little bit of good in every bad thing that happens, a little bit of bad in every good thing that happens. But I'll point out that people have this obsession with the white side winning. And we have to fight for the light, because if not, the darkness will overtake us. I think ever since the beginning of time, we have had equal parts. I think within all of us we have equal parts. We have our shadow, and we have the good parts of our personality that showed everybody else. But as I walk, I see clearly my shadow on that ground. I accept it, and I want to use it for the right things. Most animals, predators, carnivores, have sharp teeth. It's violent, but they serve a useful purpose. Sometimes the animal needs that. Nobody looks at the animal kingdom and sees a lion eating a gazelle and says, you know what, that's wrong. Nobody does that. I wouldn't even imagine the damn PETA people. Alright, so I did a little research. It is Chinese in origin. I think it came about in like the 14th century, if I remember correctly. Anyway, I'm not going to get into the history of the damn yin-yang. What does it mean? Nothing. Really? What do you mean, what does it mean? Why does it have to mean something? What do you mean? I don't mean like, what are you saying? I mean like, what's your meaning? Isn't that odd? It's a human invention. I mean, I like it. I have quite a bit of meaning in my life, but it's personal to me. It's not objective, it's very subjective. What is meaningful is different to everybody. But no, in general, things don't have any meaning. You sure about that? What things? Point one out. Make it separate. Because right now you're not making any sense. Not really. We assign it to them. But that's a hallucination as well, because in the real world, there don't exist any things. There don't exist any separate events which are apart from any other. And as the hippies like to say, we're all one. Oh yeah? Are you sure about that? Or are both of these concepts ideas that you did not create, that you accepted, and I don't know why I'm talking to myself in third person, that I bought from whomever, and liked it, or assumed it to be true? Have I investigated this sufficiently? Is my method of investigation correct? The hell is that? At 2 a.m., editing the final version, I'm forced to ask myself the question of what does it mean to mean something? Okay, so the philosophical answer for that, what does it mean to mean something? What we're really asking is, what is the nature of meaning itself, I guess. But to me, it just sounds like a nonsense question. Where does it go somewhere? What does it have to have something? What does it make to make something? That's pure nonsense. How does it work to work well? Why does it need to need anything? Where does it go somewhere? What the hell does that mean?